Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. I'll be honest, today's video is not one I was looking forward to filming. I was actually supposed to be prepping the van for airstrip attack, making passes in what should have been the world's fastest camper van. But instead, I'm sitting here thinking about how I can build this aluminum block 5.3. It's safe to say something went wrong. Yeah, we'll get to that part here in a minute. Over the last few years, me and my buddies have been chasing this crazy idea to build the world's fastest and most capable off-road four-wheel drive camper van. It's a 1999 Chevy Astro van that I'm using as a test bed for SWS Motorsports parts. My thinking is simple. If my parts can survive through the stuff I'm going to put it through in a cramped, hot engine bay in some of the harshest environments on Earth, it'll live in your hot rod. In the last video, I introduced the TVS 1900 Supercharger, which actually, now that I think about it, all right, there we go. That's a little bit better. In this video, I finally get to install the TVS 1900 in the Astro van, as well as a Holley Terminator X-Max ECU and trans controller for the 6L90. And we'll go ahead and throw on a awning as well, because, you know, camper van things. But what I'm specifically most excited about is our intercoolers. We have officially begun full production on the intercoolers, and I could not have done it without you guys' support. You're awesome. Lately, I've been focusing a lot of my time coordinating between various companies, getting everything ready. They're coming soon. We just want to make sure everything's perfect before we send them out to you guys. The 1.5-inch cores are already sold out, but the larger 2 5/8 cores, we still have a few available on the website. And after we get everything installed and semi-tested, we're going to pack everything up, take it on a 900-mile round-trip road trip to Tulsa and hang out with the crew from Send It Race Media and help host their very first burnout competition. Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. I got some pretty big updates. Little CNC mill is actually finally working. We have movement on all of the axes and a little bit of an update there. The Astro van, we are finally swapping over to the Terminator X so that we can run the 6L90 and put one of our intercoolers on there. Maybe pretty hard to believe, but there's not exactly a whole lot of room in the engine bay of an Astro van. So trying to figure out where to mount the Holley's been a little bit challenging. What I think we settled on, though, is under the doghouse, right here, under the radio, seems about perfect. So I'm going to make a bracket and see if I can get something up in there that works. After a little bit of fiddling with some cardboard and measuring, I just decided that I think, let's just drop the computer that costs more than the car. So after fiddling with some cardboard, I just decided I think the best way to do this is going to be mounted. All right, let's build a supercharger. Well, we're going to have to take the snout off and change to a larger pulley, so sweet. Have to remove these, tap these holes, press this off, and get it together. This guy, I found the easiest way to get it out is to use a chisel or flathead screwdriver and drive it out. You can alternate from this side and this side and it'll just pop out. This one, on the other hand, is kind of a bitch. Not only is it pressed in, but it looks like they also use red Loctite to hold it in. Used a pair of channel locks and just rotated the whole thing out. Now, we're going to figure out what we can do about plugging these holes. This hole is already basically the correct size to just run 1/8-inch NPT tap straight into, so that's pretty convenient. 3/8 NPT, and you'd have to drill that guy out so that this would fit. And I don't know, maybe I'll tap that, maybe I'll just 3D print a plug. I'll see how lazy I feel. This is not the correct way to run this tap. But that's not going to stop me. We're going to put a little bit of looby-dooby on this. While we're doing this the wrong way, might as well do it the wrong way to the best of our abilities. Tap. Okay, cool. It does look like I found a at least semi-workable solution. Chucked her up in the mill and cut this down. I mean, you could use a grinder. Just use a grinder. Our extra vacuum port's hooked up. Now, if you'll notice, the throttle body opening is quite a bit larger than the throttle body opening on the Supercharger. That is because we don't mess around and we prefer horsepower. So it's pre-prepared for porting. So you can bolt the thing on, mark it with a Sharpie. Alrighty, let's see if we have enough RTV in this little fella. Bingo, bango, bongo. Tiny bit of squish out from the silicone. That's perfect. And on the inside, there's a little bit of squish out as well. But I'm going to use my glove to wipe it out because it does not need to go through the motor. Probably wouldn't hurt anything. Alright, turn your head and cough for me.
So you're happy with your decision to supercharge and, you know, use a Terminator on this thing?
Dude, would you believe that this wiring harness is not designed to fit in an Astro van?
Especially one with a supercharger on it?
Yeah, I mean, I wish Holley had the foresight to know that this is what people would be doing with their products. But I'm having as much fun as a kid at Disney World right now. Like, this is electrical tape. It's nice and goopy. Exactly what you want. We have a fuel pressure gauge, which is...
That's nice.
I mean, cool.
Is there even a sensor on the rail?
No.
Yeah.
No. It's a Holley fuel rail too. So like.
So it's yeah.
Well, I mean, technically, we could put it on the fuel pressure regulator. There's a bung hole for that.
Yeah.
We could put it on my bung hole. Anyway, air temp sensor is going to have to stay back here.
She's a little long. Just a little long.
Oh, it fits. I was going to be so pissed off if the Holley sensor didn't fit with the Holley harness.
Right.
But
isn't that a GM sensor?
No, well, in stock form and in Holley's form, yes. All right, this is my multi-use heat exchanger. It's actually out of a Lincoln LS. It's pretty cool. It's got transcooler, power steering, and engine oil cooler all in one unit. I've been running this since before the Supercharged swap. So we're going to remove this and put in a substantially larger, crusty old heat exchanger. And so this is kind of what we're thinking for the heat exchanger setup. This heat exchanger is actually off of a Cobalt SS. It's surprisingly large. It's larger than what's on the Terminator Cobras and on the
Lightning?
And the Lightning.
GT500?
I don't know the size of the stock GT500 one, but it is definitely larger than most OEM heat exchangers.
This is bigger than the Honda radiator.
But yeah, this is bigger than the actual radiator on the inside. Like, no exaggeration. Not by much. It gets pretty close. But yeah, we need to design a mount that will hold all of this to the stock core support. Yeah, so sounds like a good use for the 3D printer. Akira, what do you think? Race car parts.
Help me, baby Jesus.
Uh-oh. Dropped it. Ow! Good with that one? Good with this one?
Yeah, I think so.
I've got a feeling I'm not going to be able to see that very well in the inside, so cool. Our brackets, we actually have a rubber insert that's 3D printed as well that goes in, so that'll isolate everything. It's actually TPU, but we'll put some riv nuts in and bolt it to the core support. But we got the mounts for the heat exchanger and transcooler all sorted up. Got the coolant reservoir sorted. I need to plug one of these, but I don't have the correct plug, so I'll probably just put a barb fitting on with a clamp around a bolt, and that'll be fine for now. Got a new grill put on it and reservoir for the intercooler system. We're just gonna be using a stock intercooler pump. This is the same one on the Range Rovers, the 0304 Cobras, Cobalt SS, and probably a half dozen other cars. Oh, Ford Lightning, pretty much all of them use this same pump. A larger pump will move more fluid and will cool better, but this was cheap and it works. So I took the time to redesign the throttle body inlet for the Astro van. This setup probably wouldn't work well in most applications, but you know, let's get this printed and see what it looks like. We got most of the supercharger setup on the Astro van finished, but we got a couple other things we need to touch up before the Send It Burnout series. One of which is mounting the awning onto the van. It is a camper van, so an awning seems appropriate. I'm gonna take some measurements and build this bracket. It's not tuned and it needs some work, but let's see what she's got. That'll do it. Man, I'm gonna have to clean this place. Hi, kitty. Thank God for editing, because I couldn't do this if I couldn't edit. Ah! Hell, I still might not be able to do this. All right, let's test fit our mounts. That is perfect. So we'll get these mounted up and put the awning on. And these, I'm sure, will be very easy to align by myself on the roof of this van. Not a two-person job at all. Okay, it's sitting up there on the brackets. None of it's bolted down, but yeah, that absolutely worked the first try and I didn't have to reprint anything. These definitely aren't perfect, but good enough for a prototype. Designed a new throttle body adapter that points it more upwards, which really only useful for the van. But thing is set up and it'll absolutely start and run. Now I'm gonna wire the alternator in. Oh. Got the canopy mounted, it's good to go. Those are some ugly brackets, but this is for testing purposes, so that's all right. The old girl is running, just filled it up with gas. We're gonna see if this thing will make it all the way to Tulsa. Let's go. I'm telling you right now, everybody needs a supercharged camper van. I mean, just listen to this. Any lift supports, so. Tools. What do we need? All right. Got the extra large gloves.
Oh, well, sorry, I got big mitts.
They're loose on me. I got tiny hands. I think just bringing the part to the toolbox is the way to do this.
There's a bumper thingy there.
It's bumper-like. I'm gonna go nut on top or nut on bottom? I think nut on top.
I mean, you either lose all of it or just half of it, so.
Them will help 50%, right?
No, one of them does.
Then why is it on there?
Two of them help all of it.
All right, sway bar is actually attached now. Let's get on the road and actually we're gonna get some food first, then we're gonna get on the road. Alrighty, excuse the wind noise, too hot to drive with the windows up. We made it to Tulsa. We're gonna stop at buddy Ben's place. We're gonna see if we can do some stuff to get his burnout car ready. It's a rear wheel drive swapped Civic. It's kind of silly, you guys will see it here in a minute. But the van developed a pretty substantial oil leak between the torque converter and the transmission, so that's gonna have to get fixed. While we're at Ben's, we're probably gonna drop the tank and put in the 225 Walbro fuel pump, because this thing goes lean really hard under wide open throttle. So, you know, of course the Astrovan fuel pump isn't big enough to support this, but it's with me. We got this sweet ass, or we're gonna call it a Civic, Oldsmobile V8, Olds V8, rear wheel drive swap Civic. This is gonna be a great little burnout turd. Not gonna make it to this event in running form, but she's in the works. He's planning on putting, what turbo are you thinking about running, Ben?
We're gonna go with a T3 turbo, but if we get the parts, we're gonna go supercharger with turbocharger over it.
Compound charge. Mint. We are here at the drag strip with the Astrovan in line. We're gonna do the first burnout of the event. You know, gotta break things in right. For those of you who don't know, the last burnout I did in this van, I actually welded first gear together on the 4L80, and that's why it's been down for a year and a half. We're gonna see what this thing does. I'm really glad that's on my van.
That was an absolute waste of beer if I've ever seen. Fuck, I would have drank that.
Guys, don't forget to plug your dipstick in, or something like this might happen. Yep, accidentally left that guy partially out. Whoops. Well, I guess I'm not too worried about getting oil in there. 3 quarts later, and you know what? I think this guy can live on this side. Don't look at it.
You planning on explaining yourself here?
Well, I left this off. We thought we had a little bit of excess crank pressure, and I was like, cool, we can vent it. This is a long enough dipstick, it probably won't push all the oil out, except for the fact it feeds from the bottom of the motor. So any crankcase pressure automatically feeds oil out. Anyway. My bad. Well, boys, got pulled over. You know, for expired taxes. Thing's been down for a while. But right before that happened, it blew up and is smoking. So we're gonna have to get this thing towed home. I guess it's time to play taps. But we'll get it back going. Well, this is where this adventure is gonna end. And if you guys are interested to see exactly what happened, follow along, subscribe, you guys know the deal. Burnout contest is pretty awesome. Unfortunately, we did crack a ringland, and it was due to nothing more than just a really, really simple beginner level mistake. After writing the ignition timing curve, I went through and changed the map sensor. This doesn't sound like a big deal, except Holley does not rescale or reposition your ignition timing curves. All they do is change the y-axis values on the table So when I thought I was running 19 to 20 degrees of timing at 7 pounds of boost, it was actually running 29 to 31 degrees. Yeah, Ringland, Cylinder 7 decided to have a disco party, so that was an expensive mistake. But the good news is the intercooler setup with the TVS did wonderfully. On quarter-mile pulls, the hottest temperatures that we ever reached after the intercooler was about 148 degrees Fahrenheit, and that sounds pretty hot until you realize that I didn't even have a cold air intake on this thing. The filter is right behind the radiator. So our cruising temps were about 130 degrees Fahrenheit, 140, and then we would get close to 150 after pulls. So that little bitty intercooler at 6 to 7 pounds of boost is doing perfectly fine, and the production version will actually have a higher fin density and cool even better. So I'm really happy with the performance that we're getting out of that intercooler core, so that's great news for you guys. The TVS 1900 on the 6-liter LS with a 3-inch pulley was turning the blower at just short of 14,000 RPM, which is 4,000 RPM below Eaton's rating for it, and a ton of people push these things up to 23,000. That seems to be about the general consensus. So yeah, there's no reason this blower on a 6-liter won't support 800 horsepower to the wheels if you're pushing it like 14 pounds of boost or so. It was sufficiently spicy. Just to make sure you guys get your timing right. I am a little bummed about what happened with the Astro van, but hey, that is the nature of testing stuff out and doing things yourself. I have tuned dozens of performance vehicles and forced induction vehicles and never made such a simple, stupid mistake. But I'm glad it happened on mine and not a buddy's car or a customer's car. So that's what happens when you rush things, guys. So yeah, van's down, but we are far from out. But hey, that's always been the goal, to build, test, and improve. And that's exactly what we're doing.